I've been with my husband for 15 years. He's a good man, a great father, and my whole life. But somewhere along the way, he stopped seeing me. Now I feel more emotionally connected to his brother than to him, and I hate myself for it. I'm sorry. This won't be brief. I, 30 female, and my husband, 30 male, have been together for 15 years. We were high school sweethearts, two broken kids who found each other in the wreckage of our families. Both of us came from homes filled with chaos, physical abuse, emotional manipulation, neglect, the kind of pain that never fully leaves you. He was my escape, my reason, my safety. When I met him, I thought I'd finally found the one person who could make the world make sense. We grew up together. Fell in love when we were barely old enough to understand what love really was. When he graduated, he got a steady job. I followed him a year later, and within months, we were renting our first place together. We got married young, started a family early, and slipped into that quiet, traditional life, him working long hours to provide, me staying home to raise our two kids. It was a dream I didn't even know I had, and for a long time, I believed that meant we'd made it. He's an exceptional man in so many ways. He's gentle and hardworking, soft-spoken, kind to a fault. The kind of man who stays calm when everything falls apart, who fixes the car, pays the bills, tucks the kids in, and still asks if I've eaten dinner. He doesn't yell, doesn't get angry often. Even his own mother once told me she'd never seen him truly mad. He's steady, and he's always been that way. Reliable. Predictable. My anchor. But if I'm being completely honest, painfully honest, I haven't always been the best version of myself with him. When we were younger, my self-esteem was non-existent. I was reactive, emotional, insecure. He would shut down whenever we argued, and I'd spiral, convinced that every conflict was my fault. I saw him as this perfect man, and myself as the broken one lucky enough to be loved by him. Every time he withdrew, I panicked. Every time he sighed, I apologized. I worshipped him like he was the only good thing in the world. Maybe that's where I went wrong. I told myself I was maturing when I stopped fighting, when I stopped bringing things up that bothered me. I thought I was growing emotionally. But now, looking back, I think I just learned to shrink. I became quieter, smaller, easier to live with. I stopped expecting him to meet me halfway because I was so terrified he'd walk away if I pushed too hard. We don't have much of a support system. My family, what's left of it, is a minefield of trauma. His family is just as bad in their own way, judgmental, manipulative, critical of everything we do. So for years, it's really just been us. We have a small circle of high school friends we still talk to, but even that's changed. They've grown distant from him over time. They say he's hard to talk to now, that he gets defensive or shuts down too easily. They still reach out to me, but not him. And I hate how that makes me feel guilty, protective, and strangely validated. As the years have gone by, I've been in therapy, and it's changed me more than I ever thought it would. Slowly, painfully, I've been growing into someone I can finally be proud of. I'm learning patience, compassion, boundaries. I'm learning that loving people doesn't mean losing myself to them. I still have a long way to go. I stumble constantly, second-guess myself, revert to old habits, but for the first time in my life, I can actually say I like who I'm becoming. Therapy has been the single most transformative thing I've ever done, but it's also one of the most isolating. My husband doesn't believe in it. He supports me doing it. He's not cruel or dismissive about it, but he thinks it's a scam. He believes that life's problems should be handled privately, quietly, without outside help. Talking doesn't change anything, he told me once, not unkindly, just matter-of-factly. I think that's what hurts most. Because for me, talking is what's saving me. Talking is how I've learned to breathe again. And yet, every new insight I gain, every emotional breakthrough I have, widens the distance between us just a little more. It's hard to explain, but the more I heal, the more I notice what's unhealed in him, and in us. I start to see patterns I used to normalize. Habits that once felt small now seem enormous. I think my main goal in life, the thing that keeps me grounded, is to grow into the best version of myself I can be, and to make real connections. Deep, meaningful, human connections. With friends. With family. With my husband. With my kids. I want to teach my children everything I never got to learn when I was young. How to love themselves, how to communicate, how to forgive, how to stand tall even when the world feels like it's falling apart. Our kids are amazing, bright, kind, curious little people. And sometimes when I look at them, I feel this ache because I know they're watching us. They're learning what love looks like by watching me and their dad. And that terrifies me a little. Because despite everything good about my husband, and there is so much good, there's also this quiet, steady pattern that's been there since the very beginning. The way he can go cold, almost overnight. The way he withdraws when something's wrong. The way he isolates, shuts down, locks me out emotionally until the air in the house feels thick and heavy. I used to blame myself for that. I used to think I wasn't lovable enough, or calm enough, or kind enough to reach him. But now, after years of therapy, I know what it's called. Stonewalling. Emotional detachment disguised as calm. A wall that looks like peace but feels like punishment. When he does it, I don't fall apart anymore. I used to cry, panic, beg him to talk to me, to tell me what I did wrong. I used to spiral into shame and guilt until I could barely breathe. Now I just stop trying. I let him have his silence, but I can't pretend it doesn't hurt. Because here's the thing, I crave connection. I crave deep conversations, the kind that make you feel raw and alive and human. I want to talk about dreams and fears and regrets and what it means to love someone after 15 years together. I want to know what's in his head, what scares him, what he still hopes for. But he won't go there with me. He never has. And I've stopped expecting him to. He's not a bad man. He's a good man, a great one even in many ways. But he's stuck. Stuck in old wounds, old beliefs, old fears. And no matter how much I grow, how much I change, I can't pull him forward with me. He admits when he's wrong, at least in words. When we talk about how he treats his family, for example, he'll nod, agree that he's being too harsh or distant, but nothing ever really changes. It's like he understands everything on a logical level, but he can't feel it. He doesn't know how to take that understanding and turn it into action. He's often apologetic, painfully so, almost childlike in his remorse when he realizes he's hurt me. He'll say, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you feel that way," and I believe him every single time. But then nothing changes. He never digs deeper. He never asks why he said or did what he did, why he shuts down, why he withdraws, why the smallest conflict makes him retreat behind walls I can't climb. He's sorry, but he's not curious. And that's what breaks me. I don't even feel anger anymore. Just this slow, quiet sadness that sits heavy in my chest. Because I love him so much. God, I love him. And yet I can't stand watching him exist like this, trapped in his own silence, refusing to look inward, refusing to ask for more from life. From us. When I tell him I feel disconnected, he looks confused, almost hurt. He tells me he's happy. That everything is fine. And it's not a lie, I think in his mind it really is fine. We have a home, 2 beautiful kids, steady routines, shared laughter, comfort. But I can feel the crack in the foundation, the subtle shift under the weight of all that unspoken loneliness. It's like we've built a beautiful life together on hollow ground. And he's such a good father. I mean exceptional. He adores our children. They light him up in a way nothing else does. He works himself to the bone for us, and he never complains. I see him tucking them into bed, or kneeling to tie a shoe, or staying up late fixing something broken in the house, and I feel this rush of love and guilt all at once. Because how can I look at this man, this good man, and still feel like something is missing? How can I feel so ungrateful for wanting more? But I do. I want more. I want connection, the kind that lives deep in the marrow. The kind where you can look at someone and feel that they see you, truly, fully. I want to talk about pain and dreams, and what it means to be human. I want to understand the parts of him that he's too afraid to touch. But he won't go there. Not with me, not with anyone. People tell me, he's a guy. Men aren't in touch with their feelings. That's just how they are. But I refuse to believe that's all he's capable of. I don't expect him to be like me, emotional and expressive, spilling my guts over every feeling. I just wish he'd try. Because I see him living in this muted version of himself, detached from everything real, and I know there's something deeper buried underneath. He just won't go looking for it. And then there's this part one hate. The part that makes my stomach twist just thinking about saying it out loud. I've grown close to his brother. Too close, maybe. It started years ago. Slowly, naturally, we bonded over family stuff, over shared trauma, over the things his brother could talk about. It wasn't supposed to be anything complicated. But he sees me in a way my husband never has. He listens. He asks questions. He remembers small details about how I feel and checks in days later. He looks me in the eye when I talk about pain instead of flinching away. I can't describe how disorienting it is to feel more emotionally connected to my husband's brother than to my husband himself. I feel disgusting even typing that because I know what it sounds like. But it's not like that, not really. There's no affair, no secret meetings. Just conversations. Long, raw, emotional conversations that I crave like oxygen. And the cruelest part? My husband knows. He told me once, completely sincerely, "You deserve emotional connection. You can talk to my brother if you need that. I know I can't give it to you." It was such a selfless, heartbreaking thing to say, and it shattered me. Because it wasn't said with bitterness or sarcasm. It was just truth. He meant it. He was handing me emotional permission to go elsewhere for something he couldn't give me. But now it's starting to eat at him. He's becoming jealous. He doesn't say it outright, but I can feel it. The way his eyes linger a little too long when I mention his brother. The subtle edge in his voice when I talk about something we discussed. He's torn between loving that I have someone to talk to and resenting that it isn't him. In a way, I understand why he's jealous. Not because there's anything inappropriate happening, there never has been, but because deep down I feel safer, more seen by my brother-in-law than I do by my own husband. And that realization feels like betrayal in itself. My brother-in-law is everything my husband isn't. He's taken the same broken childhood, the same scars, and somehow turned them into empathy instead of armor. He's open. He's vulnerable. He talks about feelings, about pain, about growth. He's not afraid to sit in discomfort or say, "Yeah, that hurt me." My husband, on the other hand, walls himself off behind jokes, silence, or work. Every attempt I make to be the person he can open up to feels like I'm throwing myself against a locked door, hoping that this time he'll turn the key from the other side. But he never does. He tells me he needs me, that he couldn't live without me, that he adores me, that he never wants to be apart. And I believe him, but that's not the same as connection. That's dependence. That's fear of losing comfort, of losing the life we've built. I want to be loved with him, not just needed by him. But how do you explain that to someone who's convinced everything is fine? And it kills me because I would never, ever break up my family. My kids are my world, and my husband is their anchor. He's a good man, a good father, a provider, a partner in all the visible ways that count. But underneath all that, I'm quietly breaking. I love him truly, but I don't feel in love with him anymore. And I want to. I want to so badly. I've been patient for years, through countless one-sided conversations where I tried to get him to open up, to heal, to see himself the way I see him. I've begged him to face his childhood trauma, to go to therapy, to stop carrying all that pain in silence. But every plea has been met with avoidance, or a deflection, or a tired sigh. And then tonight happened. We were all together, me, my husband, and his brother. Someone asked my husband a sincere question, and he deflected it with a mean-spirited joke, like he always does when things get too real. And for the first time, I saw it reflected back at him. His brother caught my eye, and we shared this tiny, wordless moment, a knowing look that said, "Yeah, I see it too." He smiled softly, a kind of sad understanding in his eyes. And something inside me cracked open. It wasn't attraction, not in the physical sense. It was this aching recognition. This moment where someone finally got it. Someone else could see what I've been feeling all along. The loneliness, the emptiness behind the laughter, the longing for real connection that never comes. And God, it broke me. Because I don't think my husband has ever looked at me that way, like he's letting me see his soul. And then, in one fleeting second, I got that from his brother. The one person I shouldn't be turning to for that kind of intimacy. I'm not pining after him. I know what this is. I know it's transference, projection, desperation for connection. I know all of that. But knowing doesn't make the ache any less real. Right now, I feel like I'm screaming into the void. I can't tell anyone I know. I can't confess that I feel so impossibly alone in the same bed, the same house, beside a man I've loved for half my life. A man who still holds me at night, but doesn't see me anymore. I'm not looking for an affair. I'm not looking for escape. I'm looking for something I can't seem to find within the walls of my own marriage, connection. And the cruel irony is that the only person who seems to understand that is his brother. And I hate that. I hate myself for it. But I can't keep pretending that I'm not dying for something real.